This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here, taking you through this Friday NBA DFS Playbook Preview show. It is a no late swap Friday. We have 6 games here on the main slate to get down to, starting off 7 p.m. Eastern, running out to 9:30 with Atlanta and Utah in our late night hammer. Once again, DraftKings bringing us a no late swap slate, as we talked about before. This means that your lineups are all locked at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which will certainly bring in some interesting roster decisions. Do you play guys that are questionable? Do you play guys that may not play in these late games here, knowing the risk that they will not be available to swap them out if they end up being ruled out? We were able to largely escape any major issues on the last no late swap slate, but we will see if we can be lucky enough to avoid any issues here once again. Taking a look at this main slate here again, 7 p.m. start time, Phoenix, Charlotte. Phoenix is on a back-to-back here. Charlotte getting 9.5 at home. That's a 218 game total. You have Miami versus Detroit. Detroit at home here getting 6, a 217 total there in that one. Orlando, Toronto matchup here. Toronto getting 6.5, 222.5 total. Clippers, Pelicans at home giving 6.5, a 220 total there. Denver, San Antonio, the Spurs getting 10 at home, 223.5 total there. And then Atlanta, Utah giving 1 at home, a 224 total there in that matchup here. Taking a look at the position again, everybody, we're going to go a little bit quick with today's show as we break it all down for you. Again, just 6 games here on this main slate. Starting off at the point guard position, DeJounte Murray is $9,500. Coming off of a big game here, again, gets Utah, 56 fantasy points, 40 actual against Portland last time out. We know that Utah does not play a lot of great defense. These are going to be 2 pace-up teams here. DeJounte Murray is certainly going to be in a good spot in this matchup. Phoenix is coming off of a road blowout loss to Boston. So you have Devin Booker here at $9K, Manuel Quickley at $8,600, a questionable Cade Cunningham here at $8,500, and Jamal Murray at $81, rounding out the next tier of plays here. Emmanuel Quickley obviously has been playing really well, 48 fantasy points last time out against Detroit. Problem is, Orlando's definitely been one of the more tougher teams to play against, especially for opposing guards, the way Jalen Suggs plays defense. I am not a huge fan of this big pace down spot for Toronto here either. This may be one of the few times that Quickley is not going to be in my initial player pool. Jamal Murray here obviously continues to play well. Had the blowout minutes restriction limit there against Miami. He only played 31 in the game in which they won by 22 there. I could see a blowout happening in this one as well. Double-digit point spread. So probably out on Murray, out on Quickley. We'll have to see what's going on with Cade Cunningham. He's currently listed as questionable with injury management. You heard the quotes. The reason he didn't play the fourth quarter of that game against Toronto was he told the head coach to let Marcus Sasser finish the game. Yeah, not great. Certainly not great. It is at least a 7 o'clock start time, so we will know whether or not Cade Cunningham is going to be in or out of the lineup here. But knowing that he is expensive as he is, and knowing that he is willing to just tap out of games as well, definitely a bit risky in that situation there. So after DeJounte Murray, honestly, I kind of moved myself down the list into the mid-tier. I think Terry Rozier is fine at $6,800. I definitely love Keyonte George. I think Keyonte George is going to be one of my favorite players of the day. He is the cover of today's show as well. Back-to-back 40 fantasy point outings here for Keyonte George, playing big minutes in blowout losses, and I think this is going to be a competitive game. Again, we looked at the game total. We looked at the spread in this one. Utah at home. Georgia, $6,600. Jordan Clarkson already ruled out. Loving some Keyonte George here against Atlanta. If there is no Cade Cunningham, obviously Jaden Ivey at $6,200, a bit appealing. Micic coming off of a really big game, 25 actual for him with Trey Mann active as well. He is $6,000 here on this slate. So some very interesting mid-tier options. For value, I guess it really depends on the Clippers situation here. Bones Highland started for James Harden. If that ends up being the case again, I think I'd certainly have some interest in Highland here at $4,300. But for value, I think it's really going to have to depend on what the lineups look like. The Clippers play at 8. So we may not know that Harden status ahead of time, but certainly something to pay attention to there for sure. And then Bruce Brown is $5,900. Again, played the 33 minutes. He's looked really good moving into that starting lineup without RJ Barrett. Barrett's already ruled out again, but again, I do not love this matchup for Toronto going up against Orlando. At the shooting guard position, again, Devin Booker's 9K. Great spot for Charlotte as a matchup, but I worry that Phoenix just kind of blows doors here. So, could not be getting a full run on a Devin Booker in this one. Obviously, Paul George at 8K. If there's someone out of the lineup for the Clippers, they are on the second leg of a back-to-back in this game here. So it could be PG by himself. They could get Harden back. We could have Kawhi out. We'll have to wait and see where the Clippers are going. On the flip side of that matchup, obviously Brandon Ingram and the rest of the Pelicans are going to be a bit appealing here. $7,700 is a good price tag. As much as I like Keyonte George, I think Colin Sexton also fits the bill here. $7,300. Again, no Clarkson, no Lauri Markkanen. Got to have an opportunity to play a lot of minutes and score a lot of points here against Atlanta. So certainly looking like we're going to be seeing a lot of potential Utah-Atlanta stacks for this 6-game slate, which is maybe a little scary. It is a 9:30 game on a no late swap slate here. So, but definitely a high total competitive matchup is something that we're looking at. Brandon Miller's been good at $7,100. Obviously Bogdan there at 67, playing the minutes without Trae Young. So certainly can take him and give him a look for sure. Trey Murphy the other day, again, the Pelicans just had nothing going against Cleveland. He's been hit or miss. He's had some huge games. He's had some down games. This could be a spot for him to bounce back. $5,800. It's a what have you done for me lately league. He is, again, someone that has blown up on slates before. So in tournaments at $5,800, you certainly can go there. Norm Powell's been getting a lot of minutes, even with Russell Westbrook out. So if you add in Harden and maybe Kawhi, the minutes are going to be there for him against the Pelicans. And then we'll have to see what Gary Trent did not play the other night. If he's in the lineup, he's probably going to start, and we're going to have to give him a serious look here. Again, I don't love this matchup for Toronto, but some good value there for sure. When it comes to value shooting guard plays, I mean, they keep starting Krejci, but he's not doing anything. 31 minutes. Started him the other day against New Orleans as well, 22 minutes. $3,900. I don't think we need to go there, even if he's back in the starting lineup. Sasser, I guess, would be the one. Again, he played 22 minutes. He's been in the lineup the last couple of games here. If there is no Cade Cunningham, it's possible that Sasser draws a start in this game. So we'll be on the lookout for that one, 7 p.m. roster lock. Now, Sasser was getting a lot of rostership expectations last slate out, regardless of his starting status. They just know that he is now in this rotation here. So as a dart throw play, maybe you take a look at him at $3,700. For small forwards, again, we have Miles Bridges at $8,800. Again, Phoenix wanted to trade for Bridges. He essentially told Charlotte that he's not going anywhere, and they ended up not trading him. So we talk a lot about Bridges. He takes a lot of shots. He plays 40-plus minutes, whether it's rain or shine, blowouts, or competitive games here. $8,800, definitely a good price if you don't mind the matchup for him. Buckets at 84. We'll see if Bam Adebayo plays or not. I think he's probable for this slate. Yeah, he is probable. So you got to expect him to suit up there, but good price tag for Butler at $8,400. If Kawhi is in, obviously good price tag for him at $85. Franz Wagner is in a good spot at $7,200. Good bounce back after a couple of down games for him against Brooklyn. I just, again, don't know how competitive this game will be, but obviously Toronto, not a great defensive team here. Don't care for too much Denver. San Antonio, I guess Wemby's always capable of keeping them close, but they play such terrible defense here. Won't have much exposure, I don't think, to Denver for me on the slate. Grayson Allen feels a little bit too much. Maybe you could play the San Antonio guys, but I certainly worry about a blowout for them there with Keldon and Sohan. DeAndre Hunter still coming off the bench. It is a little frustrating, but good to see him get the 33 and 36 minutes. So it's not hitting shots. Production's not really there. So not someone I'm looking to prioritize for lineups. Fontecchio let the world down, but you know what? Have to love the 38 minutes for him there. So maybe you give him a run back at $5,300. Let's see what Utah does. They had obviously started Sensabaugh, tough to kind of run back there at 48. Agbaji had been starting. Got 20 minutes out of Jalen McDaniels. Didn't do too much with it there. Probably not a lot. Atlanta did start Matthews, but he only got 14 minutes in that game. Small forward's not really great, honestly. I think Fontecchio, Norm Powell, maybe you give a look at Duncan Robinson if someone's out of that lineup, but probably it for the value tier for the small forward position. At the power forward position here, we have Kevin Durant at $9,600. Obviously, a big spot for him. Paolo Banchero, 89. Talk Bridges, Kawhi Leonard, 85, and Zion Williamson here at $8,300. This is an NBA DFS show, but obviously breaking news is breaking news. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least just mention that the Chargers are trading Keenan Allen to the Chicago Bears. I mean, listen, you want to get Caleb Williams some weapons, or you're going to invest in Justin Fields? You now have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen at the wide receiver position for the Chicago Bears. That's a pretty big deal there for the Bears here. So good weapons now in Chicago for whomever is going to end up being their starting quarterback for the 2024 NFL season there. And what is going on in Los Angeles, releasing Mike Williams and then trading Keenan Allen within days? Jim Harbaugh wasting no time with his new team there in Los Angeles. All right, back to the NBA. Again, really like this spot for these top-end power forwards. Zion, for me, at 83 for sure. We've talked Bridges. It is a good spot for Banchero. I just worry about Orlando in a blowout spot. Jalen Johnson, questionable. This is one of those spots here. There's a chance we won't know his status ahead of this Utah game, and in a non-late swap slate, if you want to risk the investment on Jalen Johnson, this is a humongous opportunity for him. It's a great matchup. They definitely need him in that lineup. You've seen how his ceiling, 50 and 49 fantasy points, 52 fantasy points here. No late swap, though. If you can risk the zero, you're going to get him at very low rostership if we don't get that information ahead of roster lock. Conversely, you could play John Collins, a little revenge game there, $7,100 for him. Then we talked about a lot of these other power forwards. No Oscar Thompson means Isaiah Stewart's going to continue to get a lot of minutes, over 20 fantasy points in back-to-back games. Could definitely see some Isaiah Stewart there at $5,300 if you're not going to go the Fontecchio route. Taylor Hendricks, questionable. Now, he was starting before the foot injury. Again, questionable. If we don't know, and there's a chance he does play, you're going to get him a low rostership. You saw the production he had there in the starting lineup. He was looking pretty good. So, and then Jovic, still not really getting a lot of run here. So it's probably where we're at with the power forward position. Finishing off here at center, obviously you have Nikola Jokic at 11-8. Blowout, 38 minutes though, only 40 fantasy points. That's the tough spot there with the Joker. You're spending up that kind of money. You're hoping for 94, 72. More often than not, though, 47, 52, 55. I mean, I haven't spent up for much Nikola Jokic here this season. Probably won't go Wemby on the opposite side of that matchup. Nurkic is coming off of another 20 rebound game. He had 20 boards against Boston. Really great spot for him against Charlotte, obviously. I do like Kelly Olynyk. I like John Collins, as I mentioned. They've been playing Clint Capella a few more minutes, but if we end up getting Jalen Johnson back, I don't think those minutes will hold. Wendell Carter's minutes have certainly been a bit inconsistent here. The production's been great, but inconsistent. 27-28, I would love to see that be. Not the 25, though. So we'll see where he rocks with that. Jonte Porter is somebody that's been playing minutes. He was chalky the other day, 21 minutes, hit all of his shots. They could go Kelly O, Jonte Porter, sort of double big lineup there in this matchup. But that's probably it outside of injuries. Grant Williams, I guess, gets a shout, and Zubac could deserve a little bit of a look there as well. Again, no late swaps. Let's see how we're going to build this lineup out. I'm going to initially go with Keyonte George. Again, I just like that spot for him a lot. Maybe targeting this Atlanta-Utah matchup. We'll go DeJounte Murray as well in this one. 56-50 shooting guard here. Let's see. Norm's been getting minutes regardless. Small forward position. Let's see. Fontecchio. Again, no Oscar Thompson's there. We got 58-50 now. What do we want to lock down at the center spot? Let's go John Collins. I'm good there. 5,400 for power forward. Davis getting more minutes. The other another 21, but nothing really cooking on him there. Did Isaac play another? 19 minutes, 20 minutes for Isaac. Let's do Jonathan Isaac for some value. We talked about him on the last show. If he's going to get 20 minutes, he's a fantasy point per minute plus play. This is certainly a matchup he can take advantage of, and it gets us the value we're looking for. Again, I don't want a ton of exposure to Orlando, Toronto, but I'm willing to spend the $3,700 on Isaac there. Gives us $6,300 now on this one. We talked Trey Murphy. good going there. And then utility $6,800, building a bit more of a fair and balanced matchup. So let's see, Rozier against Detroit. It's not terrible. Bogdan here getting good minutes. Just missed all the shots. We'll go Bogdan. Obviously, we don't know the Jalen Johnson news, but I would like it if he ends up being out. So, example lineup for everybody here today: Keyonte George, Norm Powell, Simone Fontecchio, Jonathan Isaac, Jonathan Collins, Jonathan Murray, Trey Murphy, and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Everybody, we'll be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time to get you all ready for this no late swap slate. I'm on the playbook as well, so be on the lookout for all of that for you come Friday here. For now, everybody, though, good luck, and I'll catch you all later.